Hello, I'm Scott Bulky here with Ferdaws Nayimi ahead of his fight against Ben Fehr. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate this opportunity, and can't wait to get to it, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. And how has the preparation been for this fight?
The preparation has been amazing. I'm always training. There's a beautiful saying that says, "Don't train to fight, but fight yourself to train every day," and that's like my motto. So this opportunity came in with 3 weeks, and I was just ready. I took it. I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario, training down here with my head coach Evan Boris from Haters Fight Club, but I permanently live in Pennsylvania right now at a gym called the Mat Factory Wrestling Club, and that's where I've been staying for the past few years, just developing my game down there with my coach Isaac Greeley and all the other coaches. And I also cross train, and I count them as my family too. I go to Arizona down MMA lab, and the way I got there through my best friend, I call him my brother, Vinny Diaz. He's another bantamweight prospect, and I got the chance to go down there and do a few camps, and I also was there from November to December, training along with all the elites down there.
And what do you feel like each gym obviously has something different, something that can help elevate your game? What do you think each of these places has helped with?
Well, I started at the MAFAC at the Hitters Fight Club in Toronto with my head coach Evan Boris. Evan Boris has been working with top UFC fighters back in Black Zillion days, like when Usman Kamar was coming up, Michael Chandler, Tyrone Spong. He was a legend in kickboxing. Anthony Rumble Johnson, rest in peace to him, and many other greats. So he's been there, done that, seen it at the highest level, cornered people. So I started my journey with him. I believe we've been together training for 8, 9 years. And then when I started to dabble into MMA more, I had to get out to states and start developing on my wrestling. So then I was a plumber working down here full time. Was fighting full time too, Muay Thai. Had about 40 Muay Thai fights. Was on Team Canada for kickboxing, so I had to let that go and become a full martial artist. And then went to the Mat Factory. I've been staying there for the past 4 years, and my game has dramatically changed. And with my wrestling and grappling down there, and I mean, Pennsylvania, I'm not sure if you quite know, they're like number one state wrestling wise in the country. So I went down there and I got to it. It's like the little Dagestan of America. And down at MMA lab, I love going there for two things. The level of the room, you got so many guys there like in the UFC, Bellator, PFL, upcoming um, prospects and things like that. So, and they got a lot of guys around my weight class in the UFC. So I usually go down there, get some training with Marcus McGee, Mario Batista, and a couple of those guys. So the level of the room is down there, and the structure. They got like a, a complete pro level schedule. Like you got your wrestling classes, you got your striking classes, there's pad session, there's strength conditioning coaches. So the structure is so great that like it's like you couldn't ask for anything better.
And how is it being able to train with these UFC fighters like Marcus McGee, who have been able to make it to that breakthrough to that top game?
There's a beautiful saying that says iron sharpens iron, and then there's another beautiful saying that says, show me your friends, I'll show you your future, right? Just being around those guys at the highest level, being able to help them, being able to learn, get better 1% and feed off one another. And I think it's a blessing, And I used to pray for times like that, when I used to come up in the
Yeah.
game to just around people that were higher than me, right? And reverse engineer, look at what they're doing and kind of just work backwards and try to get there. So, and I'm very grateful. John Crouch, he's the head coach down there. He allowed me to come and help Marcus for his one of his fights with I guess against Gaston Bolanos, and then I got to like work with them there. I really got some great rounds, great techniques, and everything. And my game has evolved a lot, and they've been able to add a lot into my game as well as my other gym too, the Mat Factory. They've been like a huge reason why I've been able to escalate so quick and become a full martial artist, not just a striker.
And I know you're not going to want to give up too much of your game plan before the fight, but how do you see this fight playing out?
I believe I got all the skills that I need. I believe I've invested time into my craft. Before I looked at this game, I come going in. I just wanted to like just do my thing, strike and stuff. But after a while, I started embracing the journey of being a full-on martial artist. Whether the fight takes on the ground, whether the wrestle stands up, I'm complete and I believe in all my training that I've been put in for the past 4 years and diving into the game fully and committing my whole life to it, and I've been great. I'm not worried, we could keep it standing. If it goes down the ground, I'm confident with all my skills and abilities that I could, swim with the sharks in the deep waters, get submission, and I've been developing, right? Like as I was doing my amateur MMA and I was doing my getting to slowly my pro career, I was getting these grappling matches, right? Just to get out there and then get some feel of it, and I went from like a white belt to now a purple belt, and that was my goal when I started MMA at the age of 23. My goal was, okay, I'm gonna invest 4 years into the sport, into my skills without asking anything back, and I'm gonna invest 4 years, and my whole goal was to turn pro by 27. So now here we are, right? I'm exactly where I wanted to be. I'm 28 now. I'm 3 fights, 3-0, and the sky's the limit. And I believe I belong in the highest in the big leagues. It's just a matter of time. I just gotta take one fight at a time. As my manager says, just one fight at a time, and slowly, surely, everything will fall into its place.
And do you follow the philosophy that you have to stay active? Try to get as much competition, even if it isn't necessarily MMA, but going into like these grappling competitions, like you're saying.
Yeah, I believe any experience is important, right? It's like going to a war or battle, right? It's the same nerves, whether you
Yeah,
have a wrestling match, whether it is a high level kickboxing match, whether it's an MMA match, you still get the same butterfly, right? And one of the experiences that I had major, that impacted a lot that I see in MMA, I had about close to like 40 Muay Thai fights. So with that, it's like I've already been in battle 40 times. I don't know what it's like, I've been
yeah.
tested. I've known the nerves. So it's the same thing. It's just embracing that. Um, and then trusting yourself and then trusting the process and then going in there with it.
And like you said, you were representing Team Canada for kickboxing. How was that being able to represent your country?
It was a dream come true, I was an immigrant. I grew up in Afghanistan. I was 3 years old. I migrated from Afghanistan. It was a 2 week trip with my parents illegally through like Iran, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, and Russia on foot for 2 weeks. It's like, people crossing through the American border from Mexico, but we had a long day. It was 2 weeks. So once I got to Russia, I lived in Russia for about 5 years. And then migrated to Belarus. And when I trained in Belarus, I trained in a gym called Kick Fighter Gym. And back in the day when I was like 11 or 11, 10, 11, 10, I used to train with like Hall of Famers. Now that I look back at it, I can name you guys, the people that know about high level striking in Muay Thai or kickboxing, they'll know the name. Guys like Andre Kulibin, right? Dmitry Valent, right? I was growing around and I lived in an area close to another pound for pound kickboxer, Chingiz Alazov, which is a very good friend of mine, right? I've seen Andrei Shakuta. Was training along with Zabit Samedov. These guys have been fighting like K1, Badr Hari. They've been fighting in Thailand. They were like taking world titles. They were winning worlds. And then all those guys combined, each pound probably has 200 to 300 Muay Thai fights, pro. So it's like I've seen what it takes at that young age to achieve that. I've seen the high level. I know what it looks like, what it feels like, and what it takes, right? And then so once I started joining that gym, I fought a bunch of times, placed in nationals, third place a few times. The competition was so high that like even the guys that are versed already, like in my young amateur days when I was 10, 11, those guys are like killing it at one championship now, right? And so trained there and then I migrated to Canada in 2009 after living 5 years in Belarus because we're being denied citizens. And then so once I came to Canada, I started following my dream again with a full-time job as a plumber. I fought and then eventually once I started getting a title, best like winning my provincial title in Ontario. And then after that, all the competition was in American. I didn't have a visa, so I kind of stopped. Kind of was depressed for a little bit. I couldn't go there, and Muay Thai got illegal in Canada, which was very weird. You know what I mean? We would have a
Yeah.
bunch of small, right? And then after that, I got an opportunity to get on Team Canada, and it was the best thing that happened. And Canada has been like my second home. This, if without this country, I wouldn't have the opportunity where I am, the freedom, the land of opportunities. Just being an immigrant and living in communist countries or any other parts of the world. You get to see that in North America or in Canada in general. Two things that people have here that sometimes they might not see it from the other side of the fence, from not seeing the other parts of the world, is the freedom of chasing your dreams and either going out there working for someone and making your dream, making their dream come true, or you could go out there and do what you want to do, right? And the second thing is the land opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities here that you could access and use. So once I got on Team Canada, I fought for them in China, I fought in Canada, and it was amazing, just to represent, to be on national team as a fighter. That was a big accomplishment for me.
Exactly. And obviously, with Canada, it is starting to get a massive rise in the MMA sport. Within the UFC, you have Mike Mallet, Jasvidius, who is showing their skills, Brian Kelleher, who's just bringing a lot more eyes onto the Canadian MMA scene. And more specifically, Unify MMA. I'm pretty sure Dana White was at one of the shows last year. Do you feel like that's just bringing more eyes onto these type of shows and getting your names out there a bit more?
Yeah, that definitely was a great show. My first fight under them, Dana White actually came out. There was a looking for a contender. By
Yeah,
that time, I was 1-0, and going against Nate Small, I believe it was 2-3. So he had like, I didn't really worry about that. I didn't really had the opportunity to showcase properly my skills. One, because I was like on the prelims card opening it up, and then second is throughout my fight on in the first round, one of my contacts came out, so I was just like a little blind. And then for the rest of the fight, I fought like without like seeing through one eye, and it was adversity, and that's what my coach says: when Mr. Murphy knocks through the door, you gotta kick him back, right?
yeah,
So we just fought through that, and my performance was great, but I didn't get to showcase all my skills. And then, but it was a great opportunity. My name was out there on the table, and through my manager, I heard that they saw me, and they said that they would like to get a few more fights, and they kind of told me what to do, and then I'm following the plan.
exactly. And you are having these fights, you are getting the victories. Do you feel like a stoppage here does put your hat in the ring for a potential call up to the contender series next year?
Definitely, with the stoppages, things like that, any fighter would love to get a stoppage or anything, right? But I just focus and flow with the go,
Yeah,
and if whatever comes, I'll take it. At this age of my career, like I'm definitely looking for stoppages, but also like open to get a lot of more cage time. By the time you get to the UFC, it's going to be go time. There's not going to be that much development, and in the UFC right away when you go in, they're going to be sending you like great prospects, right? So my goal is definitely get a few wins, a few finishes this year. And if I do get a shot at contender series, that is my goal that I'm aiming for. And if I don't get it, I know I'm going to keep chasing it until I die.
and then obviously in the amateur scene, you were weighing in as a featherweight. You've then moved
Yeah.
to the professional scene as a bantamweight. Is that just because of the weigh-ins, of the way the amateur scene works?
Yeah, and also just like, respecting the game, understanding, seeing my height, weight, talent, skills, going out there to other places. Before I went to train at the MMA lab, I've been at American Top Team, I've been at Kill Cliff, I've been at high level gyms, and
Yeah,
just going out, seeing guys, talking to them. And plus, my Muay Thai career, I fought a lot under 139, 140. It's weird. It's like not like 135 or 45. So kind of was like fighting around there. And for amateurs, since I was just developing, and it was just like a development program, I didn't really want to cut the weight too much because in America you fight day of. So you
yeah.
weigh in and then you fight day of. So I would naturally, with the weight cutting and everything, hire a nutritionist. His name is Eric Pena. He's from Florida. He works with like guys like Dustin Poirier, Kayla Harrison, and all the majority of the big names from American Top Team. And I always ask for their guidance. As a fighter, we're just like gladiators. We're just trained to fight. Go to war, and that's why I have like my head coach, my striking coach, my jiu-jitsu, wrestling, nutritionist, strength conditioning. It takes a village to raise a kid, right? That's that beautiful saying. So it's like I listen to my mentors in the game, and I just didn't want to suffer a lot because I'm weighing in day of. So I just knew that when I'm gonna turn pro, I need to get down to 135. That was like always in mind.
Well, and I know you're going to put on a show come January 24th and be able to get that stoppage as well. Even better for a first stoppage and get on that contender series. I'll let you have that final word, is there anything you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Uh, Basically, I just want to add, that I can't wait for this opportunity. I want to thank Unified for this opportunity. I'm grateful for it, and I can't wait to go out there and showcase my skills. And I just want to shout out bunch of my sponsors. There's a few of them that I have in mind. It's called one of them is called JV Rigging. He's been a huge supporter of me. A few other ones are Burcon Rentals and Project One, my supplement nutrition's company, and one of my main supporters from Toronto is Sumac Iraqi Barbecue in charcoal. So those are like my few main supporters that if without them I wouldn't be able to you know, be able to pay for all these expenses, as traveling
Yeah.
for food, hotel, pay, stay, like, so I'm very grateful to have a very good support system. And also my coaches, Evan Boris, Isaac Greeley, Chris Dempsey, he was an ex-UFC fighter, Matt Schaefer, Jake Lowry, my other friend that helps me out, and all my training partners, everyone that's been involved. And I just don't want to sit here and say all these names, but I'm grateful for all those people and my circle, man.
Well, I know you're going to go out there, get that victory, and it'll be fantastic, and you must tune in to watch it. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the opportunity. Stay tuned.